Welcome back to this latest episode of Japan's Top Business Interviews. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, President, Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training, and my special guest today is an old friend of mine, Fabio Crisafulli, who is the Alliance and Netvibes Director for Dassault Systems here in Tokyo. Netvibes Director, that sounds super cool. What is a Netvibes Director?
Thank you. It's our part of our AI portfolio. So they cover all the analytics and the topics that are around the engineering. Can be the quality, the external guest information, the review of the company, and basically the manufacturing, the R&D, all the requirements. So all the analytics, they collect all this huge amount of data that are inside any companies and give meaningful feedback to the engineers, to the executive, whatever need to consume that result of that data.
Awesome title. I love it. So, Fabio, you've been in Japan a long time. And originally you with Siemens in Turin area, it says in your bio. I don't know what Turin area means, but anyway, near Turin. And then about 2008, you came to Japan with Siemens. So at some point in time when you left Italy, you came to Japan, I guess you were given charge of a team to run, a group of people to run. What was that like? Because, coming from a Western leadership environment as receiving leadership as a follower, and then giving leadership as a leader, we have a certain range of experiences and expectations, and we sort of know how that works. How was it when you first started leading a team in Japan? Was it the same? Were there things that sort of stood out for you as like, oh, I didn't expect that, or that's new, or that's different? Anything different or challenging, or just basically things that caught your attention as a leader?
But definitely it was very different, especially for the concept, how to communicate. Communication is very different, especially from my hometown. We're a little bit direct. The Detroit of Italy. People don't.
Is that right? Is that Turin his name for that? Yeah. Okay.
Don't wait at all to explain their opinion in a very, very clear way. So you need some time to nurture and make a culture of Q&A between at every level and allow everybody to ask to add value to the business, because most of the time people are not like. Aggressive in the meeting, aggressive in the good way. They can express their opinion, maybe they're more silent, and they let you know later their opinion, that most of the time that's actually very good.
During the meeting, you're in a Western context, we get in the meeting room like this one, we have a debate, make a decision, next item, and away we go, agenda, bang, bang, bang. But what you're saying is in Japan, people are not vocal in the meeting, they're not expressing an opinion necessarily in the meeting, but afterwards they'll tell you, well, I think this, that. So that must have been a bit like, oh, hang on, wait a minute, why did you say something in the meeting? You could have spoken up, you didn't speak up, right?
It's, of course, in general, not everybody. There are many people that stay maybe 10 years, especially in the United States, that used to this type of communication. But also for them it's difficult because we also talk a lot. It's difficult for them to wait a room to express their opinion. So I think most of the time it's difficult for both sides to start to find harmony and start to work together properly.
I had that problem when I was learning Japanese. I was manufacturing the perfect Japanese grammatically correct sentence in my mind, just about to say it, and the whole conversation shifted. I couldn't say anything. So I'm guessing if they're dealing in English, they may have some similar experience there, formulating the right thing to say, and then whole conversation's moved. So anything else that struck you as a little bit apart from that, a little bit different, a bit challenging, or just unusual?
I think that at the end, people are people. So I think it's everybody. There's good people, bad people, intelligent people get different type of qualities, and don't think there's many different. Moreover, I was lucky enough to always be a very international team because it was an Asia-Pacific type of role. So I get not only pure one country of people, so the people get merged. Also, there is a lot of interaction outside the office, so we go to spend some time together at dinner and spend the quality time together. So that's helped binding a very strong relationship between us. So it was a very, very good organization at the time.
So, you've been here quite a long time, 2008 till now. So in that time, what things have you found have worked well for you? Because I'm sure you've run different teams. Well, actually, you were in Siemens for a long time, and then you joined Dassault. So you've been running teams at different stages and different sizes and of teams. But generally speaking, thinking about what have you found worked well to get a team to get behind you as the leader?
So I think you need to lead by example. Sometimes it's easy to give orders, but usually I don't give orders.
Why is that? You're coming from the Detroit of Italy. Everyone's very direct. No doubt about what they think. Giving orders, I'm sure, is a natural place. So why aren't you giving orders?
So giving orders doesn't mean people are going to follow that orders. So maybe there are some consequences also for that strong attrition. Maybe people can leave or get even worse. So I think that assign a very clear and ownership. I believe in ownership of the task. I got my task and everybody's got their own task. I feel when people feel in charge and responsible for something and they get their area of freedom and deciding by themselves, of course there is guidance between all the team and all the group together. Because also in my career, most of the time I make on-the-fly team. So for some specific activities.
So these are like project-based teams?
Yeah, project-based teams. So that people most of the time don't even report to me.
Oh, okay.
So but I need to lead the people, especially when.
So that's even more difficult. I mean, when a team is your responsibility, you're doing their performance assessments, etc. There's a direct connection. But when their boss is somebody else and they're formed into a project team, you're that one step removed in terms of authority. So I guess engaging those people particularly is even more difficult. So what did you find worked well to engage people who are not your direct reports?
Yeah, that's why I give them the understanding of the value of their job. Is not just there for something, but they are very important person. They get a specific value in all the project, and that everybody's key on the success of the project. Because I think like a sailing, right? If you're a sailing boat, everybody's important. Even the chef forget to buy the food. It's only cooking, right? Why? Who care? It's only the chef. It doesn't buy the food, we don't eat, all of us. The captain, the sailors, or the architect, everybody. So everybody is so key in a boat that is a middle of nowhere, middle of nothing, which is also a project, or when you go to demonstrate the value, especially new clients. So you need to be very, very strong over there. Everybody need to understand what is the strategy first. And once everybody understands the strategy, usually everybody follow with success because they feel working together bring my success personally and the team success.
Interesting, you talk about people understanding the point, the purpose, the why, all that sort of stuff. My experience though, when I first started leading here was I would explain all that, very clearly. And I'd explain it once and think they've got it. What I found though was they haven't got it, and I have to explain it many times and keep explaining it because, I think, oh, well, I've got the email or I told them, done, move on, but they haven't understood it. Or in some cases, they don't agree with it. And I found in Japan, a code word for I don't agree is I don't understand. They understand perfectly, but they don't want to say, I oppose your idea, you're the boss, you're the leader of the project. I'm just going to say, I don't understand it. And it took me a while for that to sink in. That was actually what was being said to me. And then I had to really change my style, I guess, of leadership. How has your experience been?
Well, also I think English is not my first language because I'm from Italy. Also I think a big misunderstanding is that when Japanese say, I understand. For us, it means yes.
Yes.
That means only they acknowledge what you're saying. So it's not a yes at all.
I can hear you.
I hear you. Okay, I got it. Eventually, as you say, eventually got it. And also don't agree is sometimes a challenge because especially when you're in a high, let me say, demanding, stressful situation, especially when the challenge in case of benchmark or very strong RFP request for proposal when people are stressed out, they work infinite times, weekends, holidays, that the stress is very, very high, is where the disagreements start to come out. So I think they mediate and understand people, and always when in my team, always say, if you don't agree, please tell me. I'm a person, I make mistake. So please tell me, maybe I'm completely, that happened with my very young team. They say, Fabio, why are you doing that? I say, you know what, you're right. It's completely offline. So I reset myself and we agree. So also they give example to everybody else listening. Well, I can say, I don't agree. Why you do that? I think it's a mistake. Then Of course, at the end, the person in charge decides. But it's good that everybody feel they're open to express their sincere comment. So we're doing that. I think we are going to fail. Or why we do that? I think we can be successful in 2 months instead of 6 months. And all this idea collectively has usually bring us very strong success.
Well, usually too, people don't openly disagree with each other in the meeting. Tends to harmony is very important. And the idea of disagreeing with your boss, usually for a lot of Japanese team members, they want you to take all the responsibility and you tell them what to execute and they'll follow that perfectly, right, wrong or indifferent. But they don't want to take any accountability because they're just following your orders. So that's a trend that you see in Japan as a leader. So what you're talking about, though, is getting people to actually have the confidence to put their hand up and say, look, I don't think 2 months is viable. It's really going to take 6 months, and this is why. So there's a lot of capability there on your part to demonstrate to them that this is a safe environment. These days we talk about psychologically safe environment.
Yes.
Because, one thing is, yes, we can all have an opinion. They have a disagreement with you and then you hammer them because you don't like their opinion. They go, whoa, that didn't work out too well. I'll keep my mouth shut next time. So, yeah, I like the point you mentioned that you demonstrated that you are open to differing feedback and you demonstrated that you would accept someone's opposite opinion in the meeting so the others are observing. So what Fabio says and what Fabio does are the same thing.
Exactly.
That's a very critical thing. Yeah. How did you come to that realization? Because I'm guessing in Turin, it wasn't like that. You just say, we're doing it, we do it, hurry up, get on with it.
But actually, at least at some point, at some level, is expected that everybody in the meeting room say something, especially challenge the management decision. We're talking about very big international company at C-level. They watch you say, do you agree with that? They expect you say something. You say yes, probably next time you're not invited. So you need to say at least your opinion. Maybe say yes, I have no comments, but you explain why. So it's very clear. Say, okay, I got you. We agree on this point. Everybody highly professional. I think it's really expected to add value everybody in the meeting room. I invite you, in this meeting room, because I expect you to tell me something. So I listen to Steve Jobs when he prepared his presentation, expected everybody strongly challenge him. Because better a colleague challenge me more than a journalist or investors, bankers, even worse. So please train myself to challenge, kill me, so in order to be very well prepared. And always I try my best to do the same and to be very open. At the very end, the person accountable, it depends, very case where usually it was me. So even the people say me, at the end is my fault or my responsibility to bring everybody forward.
Yeah, and if you think about often you come with international experience, you've worked in the business for a long time, you have people maybe with less experience, younger people, newer people, maybe the mid-career hire come from another industry or organization to Dassault, they're not so familiar with things here. So it's easy for you, I guess, as the leader to have access to information from above and information across countries. So you get a lot of stimulation from that. So there's a natural tendency for you to have ideas. One of the dangers I suffer from is I'm an ideas guy. I have no shortage of ideas. I have to restrain myself and say, okay, get the ideas from the people. Don't be the sole source of idea generation. Find out what their ideas are. Ask them what they think. What have you found works well to get ideas from below?
But also you teach in Dale Carnegie, right? So please sometimes shut up, right? Just listen. Also, maybe by culture, I tend to speak a lot. But sometimes, or also meeting with many people, me too have a lot of idea. Sometimes I shut up because let everybody else speak. Maybe people a little bit more shy or a little bit concerned. I need to stand up in front of 40 person and say, what about that? Everybody may laugh at me. So that happened. So that's, I think, as a natural, that's individual. A lot of idea, very creative person. Some people less creative. So we need to be in a team. The usual design, my organization, horizontally, not vertically. Because everybody, as I mentioned before, need to be accountable and add value to this type of organization. That's why I think sometimes, okay, an idea, and wait. Maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes in silence. Eventually somebody speak up.
Can you do that?
I've been trained.
Because, you know, our Western, you know, code is that silence means the meeting's not going well.
Yes.
It means that there's no good human connection in the room. It's awkward. So we feel uncomfortable. So we naturally want to fill that gap, that void, with voice and our voice. And so we will jump in and say things just to keep it moving along, trying to get people involved, but we don't use silence as a mechanism for that. So when you first started doing that, that must have been challenging.
So the worst time was at a client here in Japan, where I stayed 15 minutes in silence before waiting the customer answer. Why? Because you say before, customer was thinking in Japanese, need to translate in English for me, it was a big decision. 15 minutes, just wait. And then, fortunately, the decision was positive. So, okay, let's do that after 15 minutes, which is, for us, extremely long time.
Extremely long, isn't it?
To stay in silence, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I had an hour once with a subordinate who had a problem in one of the branches in C&SI, and I was covering all the branches, and I went to that branch, and I thought she'd tell me her problem, you know. 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, 15 minutes goes by, 30 minutes goes by. We got to an hour. And then at the end she said, I can't tell you. The trust wasn't there, you know.
Yes.
The trust just wasn't there. I could see her mind was ticking over. But the trust wasn't there, so she didn't tell me. I still don't know what the problem was to this day. But, you know, 15 minutes is long, and it's hard for us to do that. But I think for Japanese, they don't feel that discomfort.
No.
They don't feel that there's no talk, so therefore there's no good human relations. They're looking at it from a different angle, so they don't feel the discomfort. So I think we have to learn that patience. So did you come up with any other ideas for getting ideas out of people? Do you have any ideation things you found worked well, or brainstorming things you found worked well, or methodologies or anything like that?
But actually, I think it come usually my style at the beginning of the year, we decide what to do, more or less, to achieve the goal and what is requested by the different companies I work for, and how we are going to achieve that goal. And we need marketing budget, usually, but also culture. I'm a high believer of marketing. Marketing, in Italy we say marketing is the soul of business. So that's usually most of the time we think, okay, how much marketing we need. Then from there, how we are going to execute, what are the milestones. And during the year, 2 years, 3 years, depends the length of the specific projects. I monitor that. I think that point at that phase give a lot of ideas because the creativity is there. There is a good environment, so people understand. Okay, what we decide now, I need to do later. So it's better add value, because if you don't say your opinion, you may end up something you don't like to do. So it's better you say, no, I would like to do that. Say, okay, you do that. So you do something you like, you enjoy, and you can be successful over there.
Well, also getting people to speak up in meetings, to voice an opinion, to take accountability for a part of a project, etc. You know, there's a tremendous amount of trust involved in all of this. And so, you know, you come as a foreigner to Japan, you know, you don't know Japan. You don't speak Japanese, probably, I'm guessing, when you first came, right?
I first came, no.
Yeah, no, zero, right?
Yes.
So you turn up, you know, why we're Japanese? How long is this guy going to be here? It turned out you're here for a long time, actually, a long, long time. But they didn't know that at the start. And so getting trust, you know, in the team to follow you, what have you found works well to build trust with the team so they will follow you as a leader?
I think follow by leading by example. I mean, we go with the new team to the first engagement that can be internal or external, and they see you stand up for your team. I mean, you don't let anybody attack some individual without your, protection. So you first demonstrate I trust you. Even if you don't trust me, I trust you in your job. As somebody says, this person don't do good, I don't like, I say, okay, let me talk with him or her first. And then I will be back to you, and let's maybe sit together, or maybe just me and you, and let's continue like that. So always try my best to say, I trust you first. And then let's build this mutual trust together.
And what happens when the trust is not actually honoured on their side? For example, I trust you, and then they screw it up, or they don't do it, or they're late, or, it doesn't go well. You've given the trust, they've betrayed the trust.
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
But I think that's also, by my experience, usually I smell it before happen. So I signal by, I want to say review. Again, I'm not a big fan of reviews or admin make a report. Usually with our team, we used to do like 1 hour a week to review maybe 15 different opportunities, 2-3 minutes. Never been any problem. Very successful team over there. Again, when you see something start to go south, you see people behavior when they speak in the meeting room, body language, which is different per country. I mean, if you get 5 different countries in your team, everybody behave, think, and then original language to English, which also the word used are not the same for everybody. Then you start people disengage, or maybe they're always engaged, they start to chat all the time, the computer, and say, let's take a coffee, let's go lunch together. What's happening? So people start to disappear, don't engage as used to be. If you see some different, or sometimes you just get cheated and you need to accept that. See people at some point they disappear, or you think they are going to execute, and the customer call you and say, hey, where is this guy? He's come here 2 days a week instead of 5. Say, that's okay, let me handle that. That's happened.
And how do you handle it? I mean, you talk about you extend the trust, they're not giving you the trust, making mistakes perhaps. Firstly, talk about Japanese body language. That's a warning signal.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit, and then talk about what you do in the case of people not performing. So body language and then non-performance. How do you handle it?
But usually we speak what happened. So you don't like your job, you don't like working with me. Because with me, I usually say with me, not for me, because I'm not a military person. We're for business. And then let's find out. Maybe people want to move, don't like the job, don't like the assignment, don't like to speak with some customer. Sometimes in Japan, customer can be very nasty, especially in Japanese. I mean, I don't feel my Japanese level is normal. I don't feel that they use very bad words against me or normal. I'm fine. No feeling. But of course, for some people, especially people are not strong as character, they say, no, this customer always very aggressive with me. I don't want to visit anymore. That's also impacted the performance. When people don't perform, we need to sit and talk. I say, how come? And then find a solution. Solution can be different, maybe training, maybe different assignment, or different company to work for. So that's case by case. I think always talking and asking people with extreme openness, what's going on, what happened. So as I always put a very open communication with my client, I do the same with the people, around me or in my organization. Always been like that.
So what's some, I'll use the word warning signals for body language? You talked about body language before in a Japanese context. If you see some sort of body language, your brain goes, uh-oh. What is the type of body language that's a warning signal to you that something's not working?
But usually it's really, watching the desk all the time.
No eye contact.
No eye contact, or maybe
Looking
all
down.
the time. Like that. Or
closed off.
Yes, closed door,
Body
or
language.
arriving late at the meetings, which is usually culturally not accepted. Most of Asia, but especially in Japan. And not even apologize, right? Maybe 10 minutes after enter and sit. So they say, okay, I'm here, I don't care anymore to be here. So that's, I think, is the first warning side. It can be everything. Maybe they get some fight at home. We don't know people private life. Anything happen also outside the wall of the office. Yeah. So also understand people. Sometimes you mention maybe they want to talk about that, maybe don't. That's fine. Okay, it's private. I take care, but we are here to perform. Your private life impact your performance on the business. Maybe you need to take 1 week off. We get plenty of vacation. And all the company work for, fortunately, they're a very modern company. So take 1 week, go on the mountain or the seaside, rest, and come back. Too. But I think is a clear methodology to identify. I think I don't have one, just case by case. Just I smell it. But usually when I get that report, usually nobody leave my organization. They grow, they actually get promoted, different position, or they find a very good opportunity, unfortunately, outside the company, but they're very, very good opportunity because they're very talented, but never get people that leave for, I don't like the job, or I don't like the result, I don't like that.
And I guess if you're ever having, well, I'll ask you the question, where you have to actually reprimand someone, how do you approach that?
That's an interesting question. But usually, okay, I'm very hot character, but I try to tame myself and first ask, how come this happened? Because usually, maybe sometimes young people that are young, they say, why you don't think about that? Okay, fair enough, next time. Please don't do that anymore. I think usually when the first time that happen, as I mentioned, everybody make mistakes. Hopefully not big mistakes. The first time that happen, you learn, okay, that's fine, please. Maybe we share as a team. Okay, that's experience of one individual. But I mean, that's a mistake for, can I say, I don't care. That's make me usually a little bit less patience. So when people do something because they don't put the necessary attention or commitment on the job, you need to explain. So that's not good. So please take care more. And next time, if it continues to happen, then we need to, as we mentioned before, some deeper conversation. How come you used to perform and also there are
I'm presuming these conversations are happening privately.
Of course.
Yeah, not in public.
No.
Because often in old style Japanese way of doing things are very public. You know, you're an idiot, you screwed up. You know, I remember we were teaching a leadership training for managers program, and one of the Japanese guys is in his 40s, I think, late 40s. He said, when he was younger, he made a mistake, and his boss was so angry he threw an ashtray at his head.
That's.
I couldn't believe it. Like, wow, okay. But you know, that's the old days. I think that's not going to happen today.
When I started my career was still like that.
Really? When you first started?
Owner the company, you mistake, they throw, the drawing, the zero, they throw on your desk like that. You mistake really on your face like that. Yes. When I started was still like that.
Really? Okay. But you're not bringing that to Japan, though. You're leaving that in Italy. Leaving that in Italy.
Very, very different. That's old style, right? That's also not acceptable anymore. I also never been good, let me say, style. People, I learn from people better than myself. You blame privately and make compliment in public. Usually,
well, that's a good point too. I mean, you know, sometimes in Japan, people, because it's a very humble culture here.
Yes.
They don't feel comfortable being singled out, praised in front of everybody else, and recognized. So in some cases, I found some personalities, and most personalities in my experience, they don't want to be praised in public either. They'd rather it was done privately because they've always got that fear of jealousy or people talking about them behind their back. Oh, teacher's pet, Suzuki, look what she did. They don't want that. So even some are okay. But in my experience too, a lot of people, I think being a very typical Aussie, you know, I'd love to be recognised and praised, right? And you can tell straight away, oh, they are not comfortable about that at all. You know, come up the front. I don't want to go up the front. So what's your experience been with that too, of the difference of actually how we recognise people?
But usually, but if it's a small team, again, because usually in the team, the bind between the team is very strong. So inside the team is okay. Usually team, everybody high performer. So I feel very comfortable to price. Usually, a success is never because one person only. That's I never seen that. Usually 2-3 persons. So never one. You, her, him. So this group that did this job. So the 3-4 persons usually make them more comfortable. And also all the company work so far. There is really a mechanism of pricing person that's happened in the let me say quarterly review. And
you do quarterly reviews here?
Yes.
Wow, that keeps you busy.
Yeah, and basically the talent are being announced, so all the managers publish that and say, okay, these people, this individual got this job, and they're different level of pricing. But that's kind of, normal. Since I work in Japan, every company, the company work for, and also customers. If you see, you work in the desk, you see award of this quarter, you see award. That's kind of, at least international global company, I feel is kind of common way of recognizing top talent inside the organization.
And what about culture? Because as a leader, we want to create a certain type of culture in our team. But we have, Dassault global culture, headquarter culture. Then you're in Japan, so you have Japan culture. And then you have Fabio culture, So how have you found a good way to build a good, positive, effective culture in your team?
Well, that's this interview is only my personal opinion. I don't represent the company. I represent only myself. But I think that every company has got a culture, and usually work for months or years at customer side. There's also sometimes you get another layer, which is the customer layer. Also they get a global view and the headquarter view and different branch. Maybe you visit the branch of overseas, same customer. Maybe they don't like the people that come. They feel controlled. So I think all these things need to be adapt. I think people need to be flexible enough to understand always what is the goal, what we are trying to achieve here. Okay, that's what we do. Everybody agree we need to achieve this goal first. Okay, how we are going to contribute individually or as sub-team to get this goal. And from there, I think we work out like reverse engineering. It never been a big issue. And sometimes we ended up mixing again customer, supplier, reseller, people, the software OEM in the same organization to make a group to delivery. That's actually happening in my career many times. Maybe at the beginning people don't hate each other, and after 2 months after the job we go to drink a beer together. So that's because people start to feel we are not competing, we are working toward the same objective, and okay, we are colleague here. Maybe okay, sometimes difficult, the beginning, I agree, but we share the same concept of success. That's what I think make people very flexible in harmonize their working style.
In the old days in Japan, company trip that all go together on holiday, or often going out for drinks after work or dinner together. It was very much part of the culture of bringing a team together. And younger people, zero interest these days in going on a company trip with their colleagues. They go on their own trip with their family or their friends, forget going with the company, and not that keen to hang around after work drinking. They like to get home and go to the gym or their hobby or out to dinner with friends or whatever. They've got their own life to lead. So that is sort of changing, I think, quite a bit. But do you do that? Do you get the team together, have dinners together? Do you go drinking after work? Do you have that sort of culture in your team, or more new culture?
Well, usually I had the same, but I ask. So we go maybe once a quarter to have a dinner together. Who want to come? It's free to come. So I never say, it was never mandatory to come, and no consequences if you don't come. You want to come? I come. Okay, many people, and usually never selected the location. I let somebody else select
the location.
Yes. I say, please select your favorite restaurant.
They're missing out. They're missing out on your choice of probably the best Italian around here in Tokyo, and they will get the chance of a lifetime to get the expert's view. If it was me, I'd be saying, I want to go where you recommend. I want to have nice Italian. Take us there.
Yes, they say, okay, this time we want to eat Italian. You select the restaurant. Okay. No problem.
If you want to be successful as a leader, do the Leadership Training for Managers course. All companies need people who can both manage and lead. Leading people screams out for real skills in communication, dealing with all different types of people, being excellent at innovation, planning, delegation, handling mistakes, doing performance reviews really well, and inspiring and motivating the team. Do the Leadership Training for Managers course now in either Japanese or English. Leading is easy. Getting people to follow is the hard part. That is a great quote from Yogi Berra. Surprisingly, despite the complexities of leading here in Japan, everyone has to work it out by themselves. Foreign leaders want practical, applicable, expert advice. This is now available for the first time in history. Grab your copy of Japan Leadership Mastery on Amazon today and avoid the mystery, trial and error, especially the errors. And I'll get your recommendations after the interview's over.
Yes.
You can tell me. So again, yes, I guess that you have that. What would you say was the essence of Fabio culture, though? I mean, you've got the organisation up here. You can't go against the culture of the employer. That's impossible. You do that, you're going to be working somewhere else. So you're never going to do that.
Yes.
And you can't go against Japanese culture because no one's going to follow you. So there are limitations. The culture provides guardrails or a channel to work within. But within that, then it comes down to the individual boss, and you are Fabio. Your upbringing, your education, your experiences, you're a product of your time in Japan. You bring your own personality to that culture. So how would you describe the Fabio culture of work?
But that's, as I mentioned, openness and try to be frank and professional, always, as you say, psychologically safe. I never tolerate anybody that bully or bad behavior, especially with young and female employee. There's absolutely zero tolerance for that. And I think that sense of protection and freedom to be yourself, I think that's really help. And as culturally, everybody talk about Japan culture, but what does it mean? Last 40 years, bubble, shogun, the young generation, what does it mean? So many people talk about, because I like history, I read the book, it says Japan is not top down. I said, really? Shogun until 200 years ago? Try to say no to shogun, ma. I don't think so. So I mean,
your head will be separated from your body pretty quickly.
That's why it doesn't mean that originally that's what is the Japanese culture, and I think the risk they take during what create the Japanese bubble is not here also anymore. So what does it mean? I see young talent now, they want to come back to more risk. They want to take risk, they want to be successful, want to grow, want to be recognized internationally. And I think that is good energy inside the team. Always I let that this kind of energy always go up and maybe stimulate some people mid-career that they say, okay, 7 years to the pension, 6 years to the pension, 5 years to the pension. They say, my friend, that's work. So that's, I always try to adapt and to people and to make this everybody comfortable and be themselves.
I'm interested, you mentioned about young people have more of an appetite to take risks. That's interesting. Can you talk a bit more about that? Because normally, my experience with Japanese is they really like to have a very carefully defined set of responsibilities around their job description. So basically, don't ask me for anything outside of this. I will take care of this part. I'll be accountable for this part and nothing more. And the smaller I can make that, the happier I am to reduce my exposure to any type of risk of failure or damage. But now you're saying that younger people have got a little bit of a different view. They're prepared to take risk, to step up, a little bit more ambition in their career. That seems to me the typical salaryman in the past, I don't recognise that risk-taking as a function of that. More fit in, do your job, yes, retire, safe, everything's safe. Talk a little bit more about that. When do you start to notice this change of the younger generation starting to be able to take more risk?
I think, again, there are different individuals. Most of the individuals, like you say, I do my job here, 9 to 6, it's fine, I deliver, I achieve my KPI. Thank you very much, I go swim, hiking, whatever I like, that's fine. But some people, especially people who have been educated outside Japan, they say, hey, when I visit my friend overseas, they say, we are doing this innovation and doing that. I come here 9 to 6. Can I do something more for my customer, for my company, for my family, right? Can I bring this innovation more? And they start to come and say, what if we try this? What if we try that? I say, okay, that's a very good idea. So also the right ecosystem to let them try. Because try in innovative territory, it means mistakes may happen, and a lot of them. So, well, of course, we need to contain that the risk management always. But I think let them try and do something completely different, and most of the time impress the potential customer. They say, well, nobody say me that. That's very interesting. Let's continue. Usually what you say and how you can support everybody business, right? We usually support everybody business. So you can support your business more than somebody else in a completely different way. And they say, wow, so I'm working now with a very, very young, from one of my partners, very young salesperson. super talent, but he's extremely young and customer very, very important Japanese company, love him. So I mean that the age and so something different, I think now is the right moment in Japan to let that grow up and move on.
That's good for the future. It's good.
Yeah.
And what about if someone rang you up and said, "Hey, Fabio, you know, I'm being sent to Japan. I'm going to be the head of the organization in Japan. I'm going to be running the organization in Japan. You've been in Japan forever. You know, how can I be an effective leader in Japan? Give me some advice." What advice would you give them?
Usually I'm not big fan of advice because also I don't like when somebody give me advice, so I do usually by myself. But one thing I can say...
They're requesting. In this case. They're volunteering to find out from you.
Yes.
They're open to it.
But what I can say don't... so think with your head and be always, take an overview of this organization. Maybe don't listen to much people that say, that's the Japanese way. That's the Japanese way. Because most of the time it's that individual way. It's not that, what does it mean Japanese way? Always ask, what does it mean? It's almost 20 years I live here. What, in details, actually they cannot explain because it's their wish to influence somebody that I understand is new, don't understand anything, what people is saying and meet you and they speak Japanese. They can be impressed. I need to keep these people on the job. I need them. If they go and become sales for my competitors is very bad. Probably my headquarter become very angry at me. And understand you need to listen and find out what is the people your opinion, but always think with your head based on your experience, your education, all the training you have done, all the people you worked in the past, and don't get any bias or stereotype. Because this is Japan. No. That is not true, in my opinion.
So you're asking to look deeper
yes.
than that maybe superficial first reaction, yeah? What other advice would you give them?
Well, there are many people that say, I work X time in this country, in this case in Japan. I understand. What does it mean? I'm Italian, I grew up there. I say, do you understand Italian? No, because everybody's different. And same here, right? So that's, I think many people, they say, no, you need to hire me because I can fix your organization. But if you're in charge, you should fix your organization first, because I think company decide to put you there. I think you get more than enough quality to understand. The people are happy, good. Sometimes people are not happy, but as you also need to accept and maybe understand what they're not happy about the changes. And usually people overall don't like changes. So you start to change, shuffle the organization, make people work, because most of the time I've seen, not only in Japan, but also the customer, people get to hide. So as you mentioned, make my job as smaller as possible in order to do not 9 to 6, 9 to 4, so I can leave early out of here. So I think engage with these people, understand why they behave like that, how we can utilize better their talent is also something to careful. And also personally, I'm a big fan of, I'm not sure you know Marchionne, the legendary Fiat CEO. He always went very deep in the organization, never stopped at the first layer. If you think Luca De Meo, the now Renault CEO, he was taken by him 4 layers below him. So he said, you're very talented, tomorrow you report to me. So that's always was his style. So also I like that, because sometimes people are stuck by the famous glass ceiling, maybe some boss or just put down the organization. So a good leader should understand people. I understand also maybe you run a 15,000 people organization is kind of difficult. But I think is understanding your people, understanding what they want and the talent, not reporting of reporting, really. No, people that you feel based on your experience they can be utilized better before they leave the company, because that's at the end is what happened. So that's my opinion on that topic.
And so should they learn Japanese?
But if you live here, yes. Because first with customer, of course, the executive English is normal, common, but if you go one level below or a customer that are very domestic, yeah, they speak English, but of course it's preferred to speak in Japanese. But yes, it's not mandatory, in my opinion, but it's highly preferred. And also if you live here, if you go to the bar, you cannot really interact with people, or go to the market, you cannot exchange So yesterday I was taking the airplane in a remote part of Japan. It was a very old lady. She wanted to communicate with us. And of course she communicated in Japanese. She really wanted to speak with us, where are you from? And we can communicate with her. It was quite fun. So you miss a lot of what you can gain from the people around you if you don't speak the language. Don't need to be maybe N1, but at least to be conversational level and be able to express yourself. At least you should take the effort of doing that.
So when you sent to Japan, they got results they expect. Maybe they don't know Japan. Maybe their expectations are unrealistic. What have you found works well to manage people in headquarters? May not be the president, but maybe someone you're dealing with there. And you represent the team here. And often as a leader, we have to be the person to really be a diplomat between the two sides. What have you found works well to manage headquarters?
Well, by myself, I was for 15 years a headquarter guy located in Japan. So that's kind of more on the diplomatic side. So most of the time, the people, I think with the goodwill, not say it's a bad thing, they think that some process can be applied to all over the world. It was
common.
I traveled again for 15 years. I worked with all Asia Pacific. There is Japan way, the Korean way, the Chinese way, the Indian way, the Singaporean way, the Thailand way. So everybody's completely different. The way they approach to business, their average deal size, how customer engage is very, very different. So do a common strategy. Of course, there is a goal for the other company, and everybody need to work toward that. But say, I sit somewhere. Also, I'm sitting in Tokyo. I say to the team in Italy how to behave. So I don't think that happened. And there's a lot of frustration sometimes for the branch. From my customer, the branch outside, far from the headquarters. They say, headquarters. Usually, common says, they say, headquarters don't understand my business. That's also met happen here in the bar in Tokyo. A gentleman that work for an Italian company say, how you deal with Japanese? They make it the same question. Say, how you deal with people in Italy? They don't understand me. They think I'm stupid. So probably they think about the same about you, right? So you think they are stupid, so same. I think it's interesting. People need to go on the territory. So you need to go. You see, okay, you think that doesn't work. Okay, let's go. Let's try what you say. And maybe customer don't like it. Because at the end, everybody need to support the customer business or their happiness. If you sell travel agency, you need to support their happiness, their experience over there. Depends your business. But need go on the field, understand, and also don't believe when people say that doesn't work at the beginning, because sometimes they just don't want to change. That's the same style.
Or they don't know how to make it work.
Actually, so
in their experience,
yes,
their worldview, that's not going to work.
Yes.
But you come with a different world, different experience, and maybe you can see an angle. And vice versa. Sometimes we don't think it'll work, but maybe they can see the angle. It goes both ways,
that's my
right?
point. Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's the always try. Always say let's give a try without before saying no, doesn't work. We try 2, 3, 4 cases. If maybe customer get very angry or team get very angry because no, too difficult, we don't understand this new methodology. So that's we need to work. If we see there is potential, we need to understand and work to make it works. Because that's what brings successfully company what they are. So keep changing, keep innovating, keep be different from everybody else.
And have you come up with any particular effective work habits that have served you well in your career?
Reading, studying, learning from the people.
Reading what? Studying what?
But reading mostly, not only business book, right? But sometimes I read the history book, right? Why, I'm not sure, why Genghis Khan was so successful. You know many reports he had. Genghis Khan, 3 direct reports. That's all.
That's it.
Forgot how big was his army, but only 3 direct reports. So,
probably 3 sons, I would imagine.
Yes, probably, yes. One out of many. So that's all these things. I try to understand what make them that good. I'm a big fan also of Sun Tzu. Or also the people, they get a very good habit and they are very good at what they do. So, of course, they're super famous, all the Steve Jobs, the Bill Gates, the Warren Buffett, whatever they can name over and over and over. Also people that maybe they run a very good vineyard. So it was very small. My grandfather sell 1,000 a bottle. Now we get 100,000 a bottle a year. I said, wow, congratulations. Really, how you do that? So always been interested in how what is the secret sauce that bring you there. And sometimes if it's a good combination of the environment, so you need to understand and read the environment, and also get a portfolio of best practice and information, knowledge that can help you in adapting different situations. Because more you know, so what is experience? You are trying before. I mean, you know how to do that. So that's why somebody throws something at us, we do this, because it's our evolution, bring that. So it is evolution, evolve yourself, and never say, I know it. Always say to everybody, he's young. I say, okay, Formula One driver is 20-something. Probably we have more license here than his age, right? We're not faster than him at all. So what does it mean? 30 years I drive the car. Good, you're not faster than him anyway. So what does it mean? The experience, the talent, the capability, the genetic. Somebody ran the 100 meters in 10 seconds, somebody in 15 seconds. Who run in 15 will never run in 10. Maybe in 14, 13.5, but don't push to run in 10 because it's not possible. So you must also understand what people is capable to deliver with 100% of their talent, their capability, and assign to the right position. Don't get frustrated. I cannot achieve that, that's impossible. And don't get angry. Why you don't do that? Because it's not actually technically possible.
What about resilience? Because you came here in 2008, just in time for Lehman shock.
1 year before.
Right, and then next thing you know, you've got earthquake in 2011, and then 2020 we got the pandemic. So you've been here through some pretty major difficult times. So what do you find works well to keep you resilient, keep you strong, to go through these hard times?
I think I'm definitely always highly optimistic. As I never see, of course, sometimes like everybody got sad, get frustrated, mostly frustrated and sad. But I always think that there is a solution. Always think there is a good way to make things better and to keep going. It's very easy, right? I'm starving, I will sit and die. No, I'm starving, I stand up and go hunting something. So that always me reactive more than passive.
Overly optimistic?
Sometimes.
That's me. That's me.
But
I'm always overly optimistic. I'm always imagining things are going to go better than they do, I have to say. But anyway, I'm also an optimist too.
But I think that keep the right energy inside you. So also when people work around you, doesn't matter above you, below you, around you. I say, how this guy's the only one? Keep going, and maybe we have hope. So when you get hope, you know what? 99% of the time, thing at the very end work out very well, actually. So I never get disappointed. So I thought I can do this, and always I believe that hard work is always bring result. Like I come from sport. I swim for 17 years. If you train yourself a lot, you are going to go to the podium, definitely. If you don't train yourself, no.
Not going to make it. And what about your definition of leadership?
But leadership, again, I like Sun Tzu, and Sun Tzu say, lead by example. Do it first. I mean, you cannot say, you go there to the customer, why you fail? Come with me, show me, right? So I think lead by example, as I mentioned before, give the trust. Don't be a boss, be a leader. So do people really want to work? No, not for you, with you first. Because for you, okay, you report, okay, we decide your salary, whatever, but it's really are you an example? What we are going to tell to the next generation? What is the example? What we are going to demonstrate to them? It is a good way. It is also a bad way. No, I don't want to never be like him. Also good, because you understand, as you mentioned before, I want to be like my first boss that throw drawing in the face of the people. It's not going to happen. But this is, I think, by example and be, can I say, an imagine of the people. Okay, I can do that. I can trust this person. If I get a problem, he's going to protect me. I can really work safely in a safe environment. There will be zero tolerance on things like power harassment, all this stuff. I'm very free, safe here. It's a good place, clean, so I can really work for this leader. And people work for a good leaders. So my sign of success is when people come and say, "Do you have an open position in your team?" So that's, I think, is the sign. That's more than sign. Revenue, whatever, success and growing is really when people say, "Can I work for you?" So I say, "Wow, okay, that's to me the number one KPI."
That's fantastic, fantastic feedback if you get that. Yeah. Well, Fabio, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a privilege to be here today.
Thank you. And please join us again for our next episode of Japan's top business interviews.